Hey there, everyone. It's GG Sober Son. We are at my favorite beach. It's not the one closest to my house, but man, I love it out here. And there's no power lines like at the beach closest to my house. It's just unobscured views of Florida living. Yeah, baby. So, anyway, happy June 1st. It's June 1st. And out here, loving the views. Let's get some better views over here. Trying to use my headset that has noise canceling technology. Hopefully you don't hear the wind blowing, because the wind is blowing pretty good. Man, the tide looks super high as well. See what kind of muck it stirs up here. Oh, look. The tide was all the way up there. You can see where it washed stuff up. That is, I don't know how long ago that was, but man, oh man. And we had Gay Pride weekend last weekend, so I'm happy to see that there's not a lot of trash, because that often happens. June 1st. Some things I do not miss since becoming dry. That overall awful feeling physically, including the shakes, a splitting headache, pains in my arms and legs, bleary eyes, fluttering stomach, droopy shoulders, weak knees, a 3-day beard, and a flushed complexion. Not all of us experience that. Obviously, the author was a male, but yeah, not all of us experienced all of that. In fact, only in hindsight did I realize that I was experiencing the physical effects of my drinking. Yeah. Also, facing my loved one at breakfast. Also, composing the alibi and sticking to it. Also, trying to shave or put on makeup with shaky hand. Also, opening up my wallet to find it empty. I don't miss these things, do I? Yeah, of course not. I mean, that those were the price we pay, kind of thing, for that sense of ease and comfort, because that's all I shop for. I just shop for the sense of ease and comfort. Now all the other crap I had to deal with, you know, the sense of ease and comfort that comes after taking a few drinks that I saw others taking with impunity. But then I would go through the well-known stages of a spree, emerging remorseful, with a firm resolution not to do it again. But, as it says in the big book, alcoholics cannot bring to mind with sufficient force the misery of the last drinking debauch. I think it says something along those lines. So, but that look of the next day, facing our, what does it say? Facing a loved one at breakfast, kind of thing. Getting that look. Do you know what you did last night? Or, do you know what you did last night? And it's like, okay, either way, it's like, oh God, either I do and I don't want to remember, or but I could never get enough information out of everybody to be sure that I didn't act inappropriately, and anyway. Meditation for the day. You were born with the spark of the divine within you. It had been all but smothered by the life you were living. That celestial fire has to be tended and fed so that it will grow and eventually into a real desire to live the right way. By trying to do the will of God, you grow more and more in the new way of life. By thinking of God, praying to Him, and having communion with Him, you gradually grow more like Him. The way of your transformation from the material to the spiritual is the way of divine companionship. And yes, and when I say at the end of every video that I upload, look up, aim up, rise up, I don't necessarily mean, look up at the sky. It just means get your chin up, chin up. Things are bad. Yeah, they could be really bad. But if we walk, as my buddy Waddell says, with our chin dragging on the ground and looking at the ground, we're not looking at the world around us. So chin up, look up first, and that helps when we go to our first meeting and we see and talk to other people that are of like-minded people who are willing to be vulnerable and share their experience, strength, and hope. We begin to sort of go, oh, okay, and look around us and go, all right, other people are doing this. So we look up a little bit, right? And then when we aim up, we're focusing on the good in the world. We're focusing on transcendent traits, doing good, loving people, being our best selves. We're aiming up. Because let's face it, a lot of us, when we're drinking and drugging, we are aiming down so hard. All we're concerned about, all I was concerned about, is my next buzz, was my next fix. I was feeling other than how I felt. And I wasn't aiming anywhere except for that. And so when I got sober, I began to look up and then made a decision to aim up. And when I saw people who were rising up and I wanted what they had, I said, what did you do? And they told me they worked the steps. They showed me how they aim up. And typically, it's people who work the steps, work with others, continue to be in service in their life. AA is a way of life, not just a pastime, not just a place to go to get away. That's the way it was for most of my sobriety. I'm not even going to lie. A lot of times going to a meeting was an escape to get out of my house. Not that I didn't love my family. I love my family. But it was dysfunctional. And there were times when it was just, I just needed to get away. I love my children, and I know they felt a lot of my absence over the years. And I was a dry drunk. They saw a dry drunk growing up. I can take solace in the fact that they never saw me drink, but they saw a dry drunk most of their life. So, divine companionship is part of the aiming up. And had I stayed working with others, I mean, I stayed sober, I didn't drink, but I was, like I said, a dry drunk. I don't think I would have had to been a dry drunk had I continued in the program. So, I know I'm drawing a distinction that it's more than just going to meetings, but it really is. Going to meetings is kind of like you're on just being a meeting goer, once or twice a week, even 3 times a week. That's the way it was for me. Even 3 times a week. Getting better. But there were long stretches of recovery for me that I only went to one meeting a week. Oh, I could barely stand sitting through a meeting. Oh, it was mind-numbing. But the more meetings I went to, the more meetings I appreciated. So, but going to one meeting a week, and there's that old cheesy saying, 7 days without a meeting makes 1 week. It's cheesy, I know. But that's how it felt, so I continued to go, of course, because I really knew that I couldn't avoid AA, and through some really hard knocks did I learn that lesson, that my higher power kept directing me back to AA. And so going to one meeting a week is kind of like you're on a passenger liner that sinks, right? Like it talks about in Working with Others, I think, or more, I can't remember. Somewhere in the big book it talks about that. We're like passengers of a great liner that goes down from steerage to stern. Everybody is just, there's camaraderie and joyousness at our escape from disaster kind of thing. We're in the lifeboat. And so going to one meeting a week is like treading water for a week, and then you come and you sit in the boat to you sit in the life raft, join the people in the life raft in order to catch a break, to get rest, and talk about all the sharks that nearly ate you. Talk about all the disasters that nearly happened throughout the week, emotional disasters. It doesn't have to be that way. We can stay in the middle of the life raft, in the lifeboat. And I love that analogy. I've heard it before. So, prayer for the day. I pray that I may tend the spark of the divine within me, so that it will grow. I pray that I may be gradually transformed from the old life to the new life. Here's the concept that I was introduced to. That once I give my will and my life over to the power of God, right? My life is transformed. It's immediately new. Whether I feel it or not, my life is transformed. I'm transformed spiritually, right? It might not look like it out there, but, and of course the big book talks about the various degrees, or the various spiritual awakenings. Sometimes it's a educational variety, and some have a spiritual experience. And I had both, really. And I think even people who have spiritual experiences continue to have spiritual awakenings of the educational variety. and it takes time, but it's doable, you know? So if I continue to, every day I don't pick up a drink, I'm in with a chance, right? That if I know that I'm transformed, then whenever I get tempted to go back into the old habits, I can go, wait a minute, now I'm a new creature. I'm a transformed individual right here. So that would be hypocritical of me to go back to that old behavior. Whatever the behavior is, certainly drinking is that the worst behavior that we can do. And yes, some people, I agree with it to a certain extent that, hey, I didn't drink today. That's a win. You know, but there are people who rationalize all kinds of bad behavior by that. Be like, screw it, I didn't drink today. Committed adultery, but you know, I didn't drink today. That's some shaky ground right there. And some denial, you know. But anyway, it's all good. It's a live and love and learn and grow program. I love y'all. Thanks for letting me share. I'm gonna go see if I can catch a meeting at my local rehab here. It starts at 6, so keep looking up, aiming up and rising up, folks. Love you.